All right, guys, the attendance tonight was 15,300. We did a gate of $1.5 million. Performance of the night was Dos Santos Miocic. Entwistle, performance of the night. And the other one goes to Matt Mitrione, who would not stop texting me, telling me to give him the bonus of the night. Congratulations. $50,000 for all those guys. Who's got the, go ahead, brother.
How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good night. Glad to be here in Phoenix.
Great night. Yeah, you know, a lot of fans from Phoenix have been talking for a long time about us coming to Phoenix, and we're under an hour from Vegas. You know what I mean? So we finally come over here. This show is a success in every way, shape, and form you can measure success of an event like this. And Phoenix is awesome, and everything that everybody's been talking about has been right. This place is a great sports town. The fans were insane tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Talk to me a little bit about how you scored the main event. We'd love to ask you these kind of questions when it seems to be a little bit controversial.
I hate to answer these kind of questions, but I will. I actually had Junior winning the fight. I think that Stipe looked great in the first two rounds, died out in the third round, and then never really had anything left. I mean, when you're in a fight like this and you're going into the fifth round, and I understand. You know, no, I don't understand. None of us understand what it's like to be in a heavyweight fight, 5 rounds, where two guys are blasting each other, you know, nonstop. We'll never know what that feels like. But you got to come out in that fifth round and try to steal the show. Sure. You know, you got to come out. And you know, I'm a guy sitting on the side watching the fight just like everybody else. When you're on TV, you get the stats and how many punches were landed and all that stuff. But sitting in the arena tonight, I thought it was the right decision.
And obviously, I'll go to you, Stipe. We saw how fast you walked out of the cage. Obviously, you disagree with the decision. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you thought of the scoring? Obviously.
I mean, like Dana said, I slowed down a little bit, especially third, beginning of fourth. You know, I thought I hit it more. And in the fourth, fifth rounds, you know, I mean, at least thought I won 2 of those rounds for sure. Make it somewhat decently close, but apparently not. Like you say, don't let it go to the judges. And you know what? He was a better man tonight, and he got his hand raised, so nothing I can do about it.
Was there a point that you felt like the tide turned in his favor? I mean, you mentioned kind of an end of the third round there. Did you slow down at all?
I mean, I did slow down in the third round. I did. I don't know why. You know, I trained my ass off. And I slowed down. I mean, I feel like I picked it up a little bit, you know, end of the fourth, fifth rounds, you know. I was definitely thinking I was hitting with cleaner shots, but like I said, I can't leave it to go to the judges. They're the ones that decided, and they give it to him.
Sure. And then for Rafael, real quick, did you expect to have that kind of a dominant performance tonight? Obviously, we know how you talked leading into the fight. You expected to win, but did you expect it to be that easy? That you made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but I've been training so hard, and I watched his previous fight. I noticed he does not block any kick, and so I got good kicks. That was the game plan. And so after the third kick, I felt his switch base, and then I kept working it.
Sure. And then we know some of the things that Nate did leading up to this fight. He missed weight, obviously, pretty badly. Can you talk about any kind of extra motivation that was there for you tonight in wanting to beat him even more because of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, man, I'm professional. You know, when I got a call to fight, I want to do the best that I can. So I made weight. You know, and that's my job. That's how I supply my family, and I want to do this, you know. And so I felt the disrespect when he missed weight.
Hey, Dana, down here to your left. You know, in terms of the main event moving forward, can you kind of give your analysis of what you thought on Junior's performance overall? I mean, obviously he's a guy who's kind of linked to Kane. You know, will he get a fourth fight with him? He sort of kind of go hand in hand still.
I said it. You know, I thought that I thought that he won the fight tonight. I thought that was the right decision. But let me tell you what, he slowed down a lot. He took some big shots tonight. You know, his face starts to get that. You know, his eyes starts to swell up and his cheekbones start to swell up in the fight. And that was early. I mean, Stipe, if that was a 3-round fight, Stipe wins that fight. You know what I mean? Junior got busted up early, and the guy has so much heart. He just keeps coming no matter what you hit this guy with, no matter how hard you hit him. He just keeps moving forward. He's so hard to put away. I know I'm not answering your question, but where does this put him right now? I don't know. I don't know exactly where it puts him, but, you know, Verdum is going to fight Cain Velasquez. and then we'll see where we go from there. But I obviously, after the fight tonight, I'm no doctor, but I don't see Junior fighting anytime soon after tonight.
I guess another way to word the question is, after tonight, what would you say your interest in seeing him, potentially in a fight against Kane again? Has it gone up or down? Has it stayed the same? Your interest coming into the fight and then leaving it?
Listen, I don't want to sound like I'm taking anything away from Junior. I believe he won the fight tonight, but it's like in one of these fights, Stipe's stock goes up after tonight. You know what I mean? It was a tough fight. I don't know. That's up to you guys. You guys do the rankings, so you guys will say where everybody falls.
And then your thoughts on Joanna's fight. I saw that she took a seat next to you cage side. Were you guys talking about a potential title fight for her? Is she next in line?
I love the way this girl fights. I love her striking, and that again, another tough fight. That was one of those fights that if people were asking me earlier back there, do you think she won? I'm like, I got no problem with her winning. And if they raised Claudia's hand, I wouldn't. That's how close that fight was. It was a super close fight, and we hung out and watched the show tonight, and yeah, she's probably going to get the next shot.
And then with Claudia, she threw some punches after the referee had stepped in.
Yeah.
What was your take on
So
the
let me tell you
situation?
about that one. So people were going crazy on me about that one. She hit her after the bell. She did this, she did that, and then of course everybody goes back to Daly. You kick Daly out, for that. The difference is this: when Daly did it to Koscheck, I was in there, and I went up to Daly and I said, because he was, getting pulled around. He didn't care. He didn't give a shit. He looked right at me and said he didn't care. As soon as she did it to her, she reached her hand out and she apologized to her. She said, I'm sorry, and she apologized. Those two had a war. They're in the heat of the battle. She landed a kick, the bell rang, and then she hit her with a punch. And then she completely apologized for doing it. Totally different scenario.
Last question for you. Cejudo looked real good at 135 pounds tonight. He said he wanted to move back to 125. Speak to him, and what are your thoughts on him trying to make that cut again?
What was the question? Ask me again.
Cejudo said he would like to take another crack at cutting down to flyweight. What are your thoughts on that?
That's up to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've competed at the Olympics at 121 pounds. I feel like I'm really strong, even at 35. But I feel like I could be a huge force, and I can change that whole weight class at 25. I'd be a bad matchup for anybody. I can strike, I can wrestle, bring them. So, Dana, I hope you can allow me. I can give you guys a practice cut. I know if Daniel Cormier can make 205. I can definitely make 125 pounds.
That's a very good point.
So
point taken. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
No.
You guys
I
heard
trust
it.
you, man. You're a professional. Well,
Yeah.
you heard him. He said he can do it. It's up to you. You're the professional. You say you're going to come in at a weight, and it's your job to make that weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do it. I'm in.
Then question for Rafael. Congratulations on your performance. Do you think that you passed Khabib tonight? I know obviously Khabib has that win over you, but then he hasn't fought since then. You've fought twice now since then, or maybe even 3 times. I'm not sure, twice against good competition. Do you feel like you've passed him as a number 1 contender, or do you think that's still his spot?
Yeah, after that fight, me and Khabib, I fought 3 times. I beat Ben Henderson, I beat Jason High, I finished Ben Henderson, finished Jason High, and I beat Nate Diaz tonight. And he's hurt, and I would love to have a chance for a title. I've been in UFC for 6 years. I have 17 fights, and I moved here. I moved to California 3 years ago to chase my dreams, and I've been working a lot, and I getting better every day. I feel that I'm getting better every day, and that's my dream. I wanna be a first UFC lightweight Brazilian hold that belt.
And just for the record, Pettis texted me right after the fight and said, wow, he murdered him. And I'll fight I'm ready to go. I'll fight either one. I'll fight whichever. If Khabib's healthy, I'll fight him. If not, I'll fight Dos Anjos. So.
Do you have a preference which one gets it, Dana? For Dos Anjos or Khabib?
I would say if Khabib was healthy right now, it would probably be Khabib, but he's not. So it's Dos Anjos.
To that point, the other guy in the fight, Nate Diaz, he had a pretty crazy week leading up to this. A lot of comments, obviously missing weight. What was your reaction to the whole Nate Diaz week leading up to this, and then obviously with the missing weight and then his performance? What did you think of Nate this week?
Definitely an interesting week for him. He wants to make more money, yet he keeps doing things to make himself lose money. which doesn't make sense to me at all. I just think Nate's in this position where he needs to go home, heal up, and decide what he wants to do. Does he want to get serious and really come in here and try to take a run, or does he want to retire?
A question for Joanna. Very impressive tonight, obviously. I wanted to ask, did you see the title fight last night, and what do you think about a matchup with Carla Esparza?
Yeah, I did see, but I wasn't focused on that fight because I was sleepy and focused on my fight today. Yeah, it was quite a good fight. She did well. She did wrestling. It's her side, good side. She control punch but yeah, I'm learning because I did Muay Thai for 10 years, more than 10 years. But I'm learning more and more wrestling, grappling, and everything what is MMA. So I want to be the best, and I just want to have this title.
And a question for Matt Mitrione. Matt, you talked very honestly in the cage. You've had a couple of these moments where you've gotten to these big fights and you've had some stumbling blocks. Gabriel Gonzaga is a guy who doesn't lose to anybody except the absolute best guys in the division. The only guys that beat him have been the best guys in the division. Do you feel like tonight was kind of getting over a hump of so to speak, for your career?
I don't really know. I don't have a good answer for that. I think that I feel like I'm pretty damn good right now. So I feel like anybody I fight's better be on guard and they better take me seriously. But as far as like getting over a hump or a stumbling block or whatever, I guess, I always feel like I'm going to show up and perform. I guess it was a learning curve. Like I said, I cut my teeth in the UFC, right? So like my first fights ever were in front of 5 million people. So I'm going to mess up and screw up sometimes, and I'm going to do things that, the Rafael messed up with when he was on his 4th fight in a small show in Brazil. It's like, but mine just happens to be in front of 5 million people, so I'm going to mess up and screw up sometimes. But I feel that I've had so many coaches that have put so much time and effort into me, and such training partners that have cared about my development and me being in the limelight and them just helping me to get there. That I don't think I'm in a position where I can fail anymore. I don't think they'll let me ever be lax in my preparation or my abilities. And
one question for Stipe. Stipe, I know it's there's no victory when you have a defeat, but obviously there were a lot of people kind of on your side, thought you did win that fight. You probably heard the crowd reaction. I know you were out of there pretty quick, but the crowd seemed to be on your side. Is there any moral victory in that, or does it all just feel bad because ultimately you didn't come away with the win?
Well, coaching doesn't make you stronger, I guess, right? I walked out of the cage, so I was pretty happy about that. Hey, man, a lot of people say I was going to get knocked out in 30 seconds. Pretty much every time I walk in the cage, I have a terrible chin. So I just like to prove people wrong, like I said, didn't go my way tonight. I let it go to the judges. They gave him the decision. But I think I'm going to prove a lot of people wrong. I can stand there and bang with anyone. So, still my time, A little setback, but I'll be back on the horse again.
Jesus Felix from MMA Latino. First, Dana, thank you for bringing the UFC to Phoenix, Arizona, because it's close to my house in Obregón, Sonora, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
First question to the ring, Alistair Overeem. Alistair, your debut was in UFC 141 3 years ago. What happened in your net fight? Because you came as the next UFC champion.
We had a couple of slip-ups, I guess. Now a lot has happened. My life has been in high gear, I think, for the last 6 years. A lot has happened, a lot of good, a lot of bad, but here we are tonight with a very nice victory. Accumulation of a lot of hard years of work.
And one more. Do you feel, do you see as future UFC champion?
Well, I've won tonight, went very well. I'm going to rest up. I'm going to sit up with my coaches. I'm not going to take too long off, but I am going to take some time off. After the Rafael fight, I didn't take time off, and I now feel it's time to, go easy, go slow on the talk. Don't talk too much.
Thank you, Alistair, and have a happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
And one question for Henry. Henry, how do you feel to fight in front of your people, in front of your family and friends?
¿La quieres en español o en inglés?
En español.
No, pues primeramente para mí fue un orgullo pues, bueno, de competir aquí en Phoenix. Me acuerdo cuando era niño chiquito que aquí vendíamos limonada. El entrenador de los otros nos dejaba que vendiéramos limonada aquí en este estadio, en ese mismo estadio. Y para mí, o sea, vivía como 10 millas de aquí. Imagínate, ya pasaron 10 años y aquí estoy compitiendo aquí instalando un evento tan grande como el UFC. I was just telling them that, he asked me, how does it feel to train here in Phoenix? I said we did when we were kids, and actually me and John Moraga, we actually grew up together, so we're both from the Maryville area. Our coach used to have us, he used to have us sell lemonades and do different types of fundraisers, to raise money to go to tournaments. And I remember selling lemonade here at one point at the U.S. Airways. And, you fast forwarded, 10 years later, get a chance to fight and compete here in the biggest organization in the world, which is the UFC. So it feels good.
Thank you.
John, if I could ask you real quick. I know you talked to Joe, obviously, after the fight about the situation that happened in the first round. I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit on that and kind of what goes through your head after that had happened. Obviously, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it during the fight. Once I got on top, I just wanted to elbow him. So, but as the fight went on, I had forgot all about it.
Did he say anything to you after the fight or in between rounds about that situation? Did he apologize?
Nah.
And then, obviously, the story goes that the ref told you guys to keep fighting, so he did what he had to do. Do you consider that kind of a low blow type situation? Is that a bit of bad sportsmanship on his part? Where do you stand on that?
I messed up, I guess. I don't know. I don't really remember exactly what happened. I think me and him had a few words. He kind of looked at me like if I was crying about nothing. I'm like, dude, you kicked me right in the, And so, I don't know. It was my fault, I guess. But, yeah, that was a bitch move.
So if the tables were turned, if the shoe's on the other foot, you give him a chance to turn around fully and start things back up. You wouldn't take the same liberty, so to speak?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm the type of fighter that I don't feel like I need to cheat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it was cheating, but I don't really have to. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather beat you like a man. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is.
So did winning and winning in the way that you did, does that feel extra special because of what happened in the first round, or is it just another win?
Yeah, I mean, just winning, getting the finish in front of my home crowd, that's what I wanted, I'm not too happy with the fight. I got to go back and watch it, but I just had some things in the fight that I had to adapt to that I'm just glad that I was able to make the adaptations that I needed to and get the win.
Scott Lewis, MMA Fight Radio. John Moraga, great performance tonight. Obviously had great support. It seems like you're gaining confidence with every fight, and obviously the opponent you're going against is going to dictate some of that. But, you finished Scoggins, your last opponent, and then the great performance tonight. I mean, is there anything that's leading you to these better performances? Is it the training? Is it just the confidence, things coming together? Because it definitely looks like you're turning a corner there.
Yeah, just with every fight, I'm getting more experience, and just like Mitrione said, you know what I'm saying, I took my first fight when, let's see, what was it, 2008, 2009, so, I mean, I'm new to this sport too, especially on this stage and fast pace. The fights go real fast in there, so I feel like I have a lot more skills, a lot more things to show, but, things are different training, and then when you're in there, going against other top fighters and things are going 100 miles an hour and you're throwing 100%, you're throwing heat. So every time I get out of a fight, I get to go watch the video and I see things and I'm like, okay, I don't always do that. I can do better, but it's a little different when you go in there and you're learning on the fly in there, throwing 100%, trying to knock somebody out, trying to get some bonus money.
Keeping with Arizona, and I'm assuming you're a Sunday Menudo partner, Cejudo, a great performance tonight. There's a lot of talk about, you didn't really use your wrestling as much, but you didn't really need to. You looked really smooth on your feet. I know you've been working with Roland Cyril up a lot, and if you can, tell me about that, because when you want to use your wrestling, you're the best wrestler in the world, but you didn't really have to.
No. I just want to double check. Are you stereotyping me and John?
No, I know you guys do Menudo. I got that from
like,
John last time.
You both like jalapenos too? No, absolutely. I think, again, man, I wanted to show people that I could fight. I'm a competitor. Wrestling, pretty much everything goes around my wrestling. But if I can outstrike somebody, I'm gonna do that. I like to make sure all the training that I've done, that I could dedicate and show my coaches that I'm learning something, not just wrestling, because I'm not just a wrestler. And I think a lot of people were surprised today. I was in on some takedowns, and I could have taken them down at will. I'll be quite honest with you. Explode through them like Daniel Cormier, how he picks them up. But I was using that as setups to strike and to hurt my opponent.
You talked about, when we talked last, about 135 instead of 125 because you were just having trouble making the cut. You sound pretty convinced right now. I want to go to 125. What's the difference there? Because I know you were concerned previously.
Yeah, like I said, if Daniel Cormier can make 205, Anderson Cejudo can make 125. Yeah, a lot of it for me has been old school. I'm not as young as I used to be. I was 21 years old when I was cutting weight, to make the Olympic team, and I think the last time I made it was in 2012. I have to put science into my training, really concentrate on my nutrition, and the rest is history. I know what I'm capable of doing. I got good coaches, and I'm really strong at 35, and I can only imagine myself going back down to 25.
Thank you.
The question for Rafael. Now that Dana has told you that you are next in line for the title shot, I got to get your reaction to that, and also, facing a guy like Anthony Pettis.
Boy, that was the best news that I had. And I'm so happy, man. I've been working hard for the past 6 years in UFC. So I moved here to California to training, to get better. So I have 17 fights, like I said. And that's my dream, man. I think my hard work's been paying off. So I'm really looking forward to get back home, take some rest. So I fought a lot this year. This year was a busy year. So I fought 4 times in 8 months. So I just need to take some rest, time off with my family, and start get back on track because I wanna get this belt.
And obviously, he said Anthony wants to fight soon. Would you be willing to fight in early, 2015 to get that title shot? Again, I'm not putting dates on it, but first part of the year.
For sure, man. For the title fight, man. Next week, that's why I want. I'm ready to go.
And quick question for Henry. Henry, I talked to you before your last fight. Didn't work out, obviously everything that happened with the weight cut. To come in tonight, though, there was a little bit of attention about being the 3rd gold medalist to step into the octagon. Yourself, Kevin Jackson, of course, Mark Schultz. Is there any pride in that? I mean, especially in the modern era, you're the first gold medalist in the modern era to fight in the UFC.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's an elite group of its own. I've had a chance to win the Olympics, and I don't think it gets any higher than that. I mean, I'm sure the UFC belt's going to be beautiful. But, man, when you win the Olympics, it's every 4 years. It's a dream that I've had since I was a little kid. And then to be part of that, like Mark Schultz and Kevin Jackson, people that I know very well, it means a lot. It really does. And again, with me, when it comes to pressure, man, this isn't my first dance. I've competed in, obviously the Olympic Games and, events of that matter, of that caliber. And if anything, I embrace it and I love it. I love to compete and I love to do it in front of the fans.
And a question for Junior. Congrats on the win. I just want to ask you, how did you feel after the fight? Did you feel you had clearly done enough to get the victory tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I think the second round for sure was tougher for me. I lost that one for sure. But the other ones, I think I did a little better, than him. That was a very close fight, It's all the time, Miocic is a really good athlete, So I did what I could do, today. I think I'm a little bit out of the time of the fight, So, but thank God I won.
Obviously, you had been out for over a year. Supposed to come back in May. You had the injury. Did you feel a little slow or anything in those first opening rounds? We didn't see you come out quite as fast as you usually do, and obviously Stipe took advantage. Did you feel any ring rust coming back in there?
Well, I did. I think I was feeling okay. You know, I was feeling okay. But yeah, he did great in the first 2 rounds. So, like I said, you know, he's a really tough opponent. Came very well prepared for this fight. And well, but you know, I have something. I never will give up. You know, I really believe I can win any fight, and I will still. Doesn't matter what happened during the fight. I will keep believing until the end of the fight. You know, doesn't matter what. It's hard to understand sometimes. You know, but I really believe I can have a warrior heart.
And last question. Obviously, this fight was being billed as a #1 contenders match. Do you feel like you have done enough with this fight to fight for the title again? Do you think that's going to depend on who wins between Kane and Verdum? I mean, how do you feel about it?
I'm not thinking about title right now, you know, but anything UFC wants me to do, you know, who they decided to be my next opponent, I'll be glad to face. Yeah, that's it, you know. Right now, I really believe, you know, this fight showed a lot of good things about both of us, you know. Miocic is a great athlete, you know. I try my best all the time. So at this time I won, you know. So that's it.
I have a question for Junior. I'm gonna ask in Portuguese. Cigano, o Minotauro falou durante a transmissão do combate lá no Brasil que você estaria lutando com o joelho machucado. Queria que você falasse um pouco sobre isso.
Quem falou?
Minotauro, durante a transmissão do combate.
Não, meu joelho não. Tá bom. Agora que eu tô sentindo um pouco depois da luta. Depois da luta que tá doendo um pouco, mas antes da luta não. Dessa vez o camping foi bom. Eu tive algumas. Quando eu fui na primeira luta com o Miocic, eu tive alguns machucados, né? A mão, o próprio joelho, alguma coisa assim. Mas eu acho que tudo recuperou bem, graças a Deus. Eu fiz um bom camping e cheguei bem pra luta. Agora eu tô sentindo um pouquinho, tá um pouco doendo, mas eu acho que foi por causa que ele chutou.
Mais uma pergunta para você. Você se surpreendeu com a qualidade do Miocic e pela maneira como a luta se desenrolou, de uma maneira geral?
Me surpreendi, sim. Na verdade, eu estava esperando uma luta dura, entendeu? O Miocic, todas as lutas que eu assisti, ele é um cara aguerrido, um cara que vai para dentro, entendeu? Acredita muito nas mãos dele, assim como eu. E hoje, assim, ele tentou bastante me botar para baixo também, eu acho que tentando pressionar um pouco ali. Me surpreendeu, sim, assim, teve uma boa performance, e acertou, conectou bons golpes, assim, mas eu estou muito feliz. A minha cara talvez não estava tão feliz assim, estava machucada de novo, mas eu estou muito feliz, meu coração está explodindo de felicidade, porque depois de um ano que, nossa, um ano muito, muito duro, eu consegui voltar e ganhar.
Just a quick one for Rafael. Queria que você falasse um pouco sobre o casamento de estilos, o seu com o do Anthony Pettis, ainda mais agora que o Dana praticamente confirmou você como próximo desafiante.
Vai ser uma luta boa, cara. O Pettis é um cara bom em pé, tem um jogo de finalização boa também. Cara, mas com certeza eu vou chegar nessa luta aí voando, melhor do que nunca. Eu venho melhorando a cada luta, então essa aí não vai ser diferente.
Next question.
Just a quick one for Junior. Junior was a really tough fight. Congratulations. I'm just wondering, you're not at the hospital, so that's a good sign, obviously. Do you feel pretty healthy, or I mean, relatively healthy coming out of this? I mean, obviously you're going to need time to heal up, but nothing serious. You're all good, you think?
I don't think so. I just passed for some doctors back there, and they said everything looks okay. Actually, of course, my face doesn't look very well, but it's part of the thing, But well, I'm feeling okay, Right now, I don't think nothing serious is happening.
I know it's tough, when you haven't had a chance to go back and watch, but can you assess your performance? Were you really happy? Do you feel like you did the little things, you switching camps and a new coach with Andre? Do you feel like you did execute some of the things that you had worked on before this fight?
Yeah, right now I think I'm trying to get better in every part. For sure, it was great to be there training with Nova União and the Pederneiras. It's amazing for me, and to have their support. And well, like I said, I didn't feel comfortable fighting because, of course, my opponent is very tough too. But I think I'm gonna get better, with the time. I think right now I'm back, I'm back to. I was a little nervous before of the fight. It's not usual anymore for me, but I think because of the time, I was out. So I think for my next fights, I will be even better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
Any more? Okay, back there.
Question for Junior over here in the back. This past week, the topic of career longevity has been much discussed, just how long guys can go in the sport. And obviously, you took a lot of damage in this fight. You took a lot of damage in your last fight. Are you concerned at all about this, about how much longer you can go through fights like this?
I can go very long, man. Like, I'm gonna have. I really believe I'm gonna have a long career, and it doesn't matter too much. It's part of the thing. I got sore, sore very easy. I think so. Swollen very easy. So yeah, it happens. I'm feeling okay. And just swollen, right? Just swollen a little bit, but I think it's part of the thing.
Thank you.
We have time for a couple more questions. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you all, and thank you, Phoenix. It was a great event, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.